It's the Underpowered Hour. On this week's show, big news from Land Rover about people that didn't get fired, an incredibly expensive Camel Trophy Freelander, and we talk about what we want for Christmas. And now, here's the show. Welcome to the Underpowered Hour. I'm the fly-by-wire throttle to Ike's ball and rod linkage. I'm the ballless host of podcasting, Stephen Barris. You can find out more about our cars and what we're working on at thebarriscollection.com or follow us on Instagram at thebarriscollection. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Ike Goss.
Thank you to everyone joining us today. I own and operate Pangolin 4x4 in Springfield, Oregon, where we live and breathe Land Rovers. Check us out online on Facebook, Instagram at Pangolin 4x4. Let's get started.
All right, Ike. Well, this week in the news, you can go to the Classic Works. Of course, we've both been there. A big fan. Michael Bishop and his team of elite Land Rover people will...
Elves.
Oh, yeah, they're little elves. Yeah, they're like the Keebler elves, though, not like Santa's elves.
Yeah, they just
like
live in a tree outside the factory.
Cookie tree elves, yeah. They come down in the morning like a squirrel, run across the parking lot and in there, and they put together Series 1. It's fantastic, but they are willing to octify your Classic Works V8. So if you as I understand it, if you want the 5D, 12D suspension, whatever it is, if you want the BMW motor, they're not going to do any of that. No. That's not what they mean. No, they're going to paint it the same color if you want, though. They'll do that.
They'll paint it the same color as your Octa. So you have to buy two. Do you have to buy?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if a pre-existing Octa is part of the deal. I would say it should be, but for this, for the wealthy Saudi prince that has everything, you can get a Classic Works Defender in the Octa colors, which I have to say, the Octa colors, there's some pretty nice ones. They're mostly just flat looking,
If you pay for 3, you get 2.
That's right. It's a 3 for 2 offer. The famous 3 for 2. So if you're looking for an Octa in like that frozen, you're looking for a V8 Works Defender in that sort of frozen, green color or whatever that the Octa comes in.
I don't know what the name of the color is. It's sort of a mossy, like sagey green, right?
Sagey mossy green.
They also have like a black, sort of like congealed tar, sort of.
Yeah, I think that's what they call it. That's what they call it. Tar. Yeah, congealed tar. Roofing tar black. Yeah, that's good. Like chimney
smoker's lung black.
Smoker's lung black. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, no, it's good. And they got the kind of like, it kind of looks brass. Like if you wanted like a Defender made entirely of bronze, like it sort of looks like a concert tuba, then you could get one of those. You could get the green one, you get the black one. And other than that, they're a little more murdered out than normal, which is hard because they're already pretty murdered out. I didn't read through the entire thing, but what I'm not entirely clear on is, there is what looks like a little flip-up screen that comes out of the dash, but I don't know if that's just like a Pioneer, flip-up dashy screen thing, or if they're actually putting in the Pivy system from a regular Land Rover. Kind of doubt it.
In the photos, the press release, it looks like it's just photoshopped. And not especially well, I might add. The Defender script is on a different plane than the screen itself.
Oh, right, you are. Yeah.
I don't know if you're looking at that. Can you see that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, whoever did that, they need a shellacking over there at the old Land Rover Photoshop Works.
Yeah, it's Photoshop Works. It's hard to say what that screen is. I mean, again, yes, this looks completely Photoshopped.
It's a mock-up.
So I don't know. It's a mock-up. The only way to find out, you got to order. Just throw your order in there, and then you'll see. Then you'll know what it is, if it's good or not.
It says it takes 300 hours to paint this car.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
What could possibly take 300 hours in the painting process? I mean, listen, I'm not a paint and body person. I don't know, what necessarily goes into that. But I do know that it doesn't take 300 hours under normal circumstances.
I feel like it shouldn't,
right?
I guess I don't know what the condition of the body is before they started.
Okay.
they have these donor vehicles, right?
Yeah, right.
And they're restoring them, but apparently they're not using new panels. I mean, that's the only thing I could think,
Right.
if you had some distressed panels, but they got to be using new panels for this.
I think they are, for sure. I think they keep only the essential bits to make it still the same car.
Yeah.
And then I think everything else, for the most part, is brand new.
So it didn't take 300 hours to paint these when they were new. What's going on here?
It took a couple
We need
hours.
a contact over there at the Land Rover Public Relations to answer these really important questions.
That's true. Speaking of Land Rover Public Relations, I hate to throw a wet blanket on the parade that I know, are working hard on to celebrate the untimely dismissal of Professor Monsignor Saint Jerry. But, of course, Jerry McGovern, last week, the news was dismissed unceremoniously from JLR, escorted out
Kicked
by
out.
security, apparently.
Yeah.
Today, earlier this week, JLR has come out and said, nope, nothing to see here. Jerry still works here. He is still employed. No further comment.
What do you make of this?
I don't know. The funny thing is that this statement from Jaguar, Land Rover, JLR if you will, came out like a week later after.
It certainly wasn't immediate.
I mean, every single press outlet in the world, like Boy Scout troops that put this in their newsletter, it was so far and so wide. It
went fast. It spread like wildfire.
And then a week and a bit later, JLR said, no, that's untrue.
This is whiplash over there. This is not the first time we've heard just an incredibly, groundbreaking news story, change the history of the company type news story out of Land Rover. And then they've been like, psych, actually not true.
Oh, no, not true. Also, the company...
That's the second one this year, right? Like the first one was, we're doing away with the Land Rover nameplate, Land Rover badge, and the Land Rover name, and each of the brands is going to stand alone, and none of them are going to be Land Rover.
Exactly, yes.
That was the first one, right? And that was like an interview with someone at JLR.
That's right.
And then a week after that happened, they were like, no, actually, psych, no, never mind. Nothing has really changed on that front, has it? Have we seen any changes?
I have not seen any changes on that. And again, this is very similar, where someone reached out and it said, the exact quote is, "It is untrue. We have terminated Jerry McGovern's employment, and we do not intend to further comment on speculative stories." What does that mean? What? That doesn't mean it. That is meaningless.
It's definitely a nothing sandwich right there.
Yeah.
And, it definitely raises more questions than it answers.
Yes. Yes.
What is going on down there?
What the heck is going on with our good friend Jerry McGovern and his
And why wouldn't they come out like the day of and say, actually, no, that's not true.
This is not true. No.
It's not true at all.
Not true at all. And in fact, we don't know because, again, we have photos of the Jerry Curl leaving.
You gotta call up Jerry. Just dial him up right now.
Let's give him a call. Let me text him real quick and see if he's available. Because we need answers.
The bottom of this.
Yeah, we need answers. Mm-hmm. Speaking of needing answers, I don't know if you checked out the old UK auction circuit there in the last couple of weeks, but there over on the other side of the pond was a sand glow yellow Land Rover Freelander used in the Tierra del Fuego and in Argentina, Land Rover Freelander.
Now, Bob
Camel Trophy used.
Camel Trophy used. Bob Ives has one of these, right?
He does.
Is this his?
This is not his, I don't believe, but I imagine this will probably get everyone who is a Freelander owner to think seriously about continuing their ownership, because this bad boy sold for £52,875. So $70,000 US.
Is that a record for Freelanders?
I mean, it has to be. What was a Freelander new? 30 grand or something?
I don't know.
Oh my God. I mean, this is up there, $70,000. This is up there with Camel Trophy Discoveries. This is up there with certainly any of the G4 cars. Any of those famous Land Rover Expedition vehicles. I mean, $70,000 would be a very reasonable price. You'd be happy to fetch one for that. And this is a Freelander. So
what is going on? The up is down. Cats are running around with dogs.
Yeah. I reached out to Land Rover for comment, and they said that Land Rover did not sell at auction. So I don't know. I don't know. They seem to be just blatantly denying everything that.
This is really changing the script for Freelanders. Freelanders used to have to, pay to get rid of one.
Yeah.
Now they're worth something, and they're worth more than a lot of cars that one would think would be more valuable. For sure.
Good cars. Yeah, are cars that are good
cars.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? I like to think, and I feel like there should be a small commission coming our way, that we have popularized the Freelander.
The Camel Trophy
in a way,
Freelander?
I think just Freelanders in general.
I drove, if not this car, an identical car the last time we were in the UK.
Car. That's right. It broke down how many times?
At least 6.
Yeah, that's right. And we have to get the friend of the show and Land Rover insider Nick Dimbleby on here to talk about his big Freelander expedition. And I know he's back now. He didn't die. There was a brief moment where we thought maybe he had perished in a Freelander fire.
He sent me a lot of pictures from India. He drove around India in a Freelander, and I was like, what are you doing? But apparently he was there with 2 other Freelanders.
I know. It's amazing. It's incredible. A Freelander expedition in India. Not what you'd expect. So
not at all.
There you go.
Not at all.
The Freelander. It is today's Defender. So, get one while you can. I have a Freelander G4 for sale now, low price of $55,000. Maybe even $60,000.
Bargain.
Yeah.
It's a bargain.
Get it while you
can.
Put
that on the store.
We will, for sure. And finally, in this week's news, as you know, like the Defender Trophy, the spiritual successor to the Camel Trophy, maybe the retail successor to the Camel Trophy.
I like that phrase.
Yeah, is taking place here in the coming year, I believe, next year sometime, and or maybe it's in 26. I don't know, 27. I don't know. Anyways. Despite that, it is time to start announcing, I guess, competitors that have been chosen. The Japanese trials have taken place at no less than the Fujigan Off-Road Park, which is in the shadow of beautiful Mount Fuji. Because where else would you do it? It's like American Ninja Warrior, except it's Japanese Ninja Warrior, which I guess is just Ninja Warrior. But anyways... Yeah. It's, this gentleman, he went ahead and beat out a field of competitors, apparently 34, 35 other competitors, and is now going to represent Japan in the Defender Trophy. It's kind of cool.
How many countries are participating? Do you know?
Oh, I did know, but I don't remember. The UK is not competing, coincidentally. UK market, not interested, which is somewhat controversial. But
there was some discussion of that at the Camel Trophy event.
There was. That's exactly
right. People were
yeah.
furious.
I know, isn't it? It is. I mean, I would say I don't blame them. It's yet another knock against the British brand being a little less British, right? They're competing in cars that are made in Slovakia without any British people. Well, there'll be plenty of British people there, but none of them competing. So I don't know. It's interesting. It has to do with the regional sales people. Like here in the U.S., it's of course our good friend Joe Eberhard. They have to decide to opt into, I guess, this Defender Trophy, and the UK region decided not interested. If you remember, that was true of Camel Trophy as well early on.
Well, maybe they'll come around and pretend it was their idea the entire time.
If we reached out to Land Rover for comment, they would be like, no, that's not true. Yeah, interesting. So there you go. But good luck to everybody trying out for the Defender Trophy. Hopefully you get in there and do some great stuff. It sounds like an interesting thing. Anyways, it's going to be like a fun adventure. So I'm sure Nick Dimbleby will be there. We'll get the full download.
Slacklining is this year's major event in the Defender
exactly.
Trophy.
It's like a Destination Defender. So slacklining, some weird, you got to make some chili, and it's going to be raining. So it's going to be great. Going to be fantastic. Well, speaking of it's going to be raining, it's coming up on the Christmas season here, or whatever holiday you celebrate, and that means that it's time for some gift giving. I know that, Ike, you're very gifty in your giving, and you like to make sure that people know some things that are on your list just in case it might inspire them to.
I gave a Land Rover to someone for Christmas one time, and they were like, "No, I don't."
They haven't spoken to you since.
They're
like,
this. I don't need this. It was really discouraging. I was like, "Oh, I fixed up this Land Rover for you," and they were like, "Oh, thanks."
Great. Wow.
I wish you hadn't.
Is that like when you like get someone a PlayStation, but you don't really get them a PlayStation, you just give them like some socks, but you give it to them in a PlayStation box? That's like, here I got you a car, but it's a Land Rover. And they're like, no, not
an old Land Rover.
It's very old. It's very old and very shitty. And you know what? I personally would love a Freelander for Christmas, but I don't have any room. So somebody's going to be getting some of mine.
That's going to change. That's going to change. You're gonna have some room soon, and I'm going to send you a bunch of Freelanders.
That would require you getting a bunch of Freelanders, so I think I'm safe. I think they're, I'll be all right. But what are you thinking about this year for Christmas? Getting some stuff for the old Pangolin 4x4, for the homestead there, for, just the frequent trips to Dutch Brothers? What's what's on the list?
Every year around this time, I realize that all of our screwdrivers are worn out.
Yes. Yeah, or missing.
So I got the guys some fancy new screwdrivers. Ooh. Japanese brand Nepros. Are you familiar with these?
Ooh, yeah, that is a nice screwdriver.
Yeah, so I'm going to try those out and see. Yeah. Got the Phillips and flathead set. Wood handles with the striking pad on the top.
On the top of them.
So, I think that's a good gift. Everybody needs a new set of screwdrivers. Nobody's going to be like, "Oh no, screwdrivers. I have too many of these," cuz they get worn out. That's just
you're striking them a lot. There definitely wears them out quick.
I mean, they're meant for that. It's to a certain extent, we remove a lot of rusty fasteners, and a lot of times, even when you're being careful, those little screws that are down in the window tracks.
Oh yeah,
you just gotta tap them, get them moving. You know.
Yeah, those are the worst actually. The wagon's windows rattle incessantly, and the only reason that they do is because I haven't put the new felt in, because I don't want to take those stupid little screws out, because one of those breaks, and it's a nightmare.
It's a super headache. Well, you need some screwdrivers.
Maybe I do. Maybe I do need some. I just got some new screwdrivers recently, and I, after some consideration and Googling and things, I got the Doyle brand from Harbor Freight. Doyle. Because Doyle rules. Yeah, Doyle rules.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, they're like the middle of the road screwdriver that you can get at Harbor Freight. They're basically a copy of Klein Tools screwdrivers. So they've got the cushioned rubber handle.
Yellow and black handle.
Yeah, except these are red and black. And you know what I don't like, honestly, about all of those, and I remedy this by doing a little bit of shrink wrap tubing around the shaft of the screwdriver, but I don't like the fact that both Klein Tools and everybody in many other cases makes all of their Phillips head and flatheads the same color. I actually like a color difference between those two screwdrivers.
The Nepros are different colors.
Are they different colors? Yeah, I really like that. So I take a little bit of blue. Everything flathead is red, everything Phillips is blue. And I put a little bit of shrink tube around just right by the handle there, so that, when you're reaching over, it's dark under a car or something, because, like a USB where you put it in wrong 200% of the time somehow, no matter how many times you flip it over. I find the same thing with tools under the car. Like, I'm always going to grab, if there's an option for two, I'm always grabbing the wrong one. So a little bit of an identifier on that, but I like that they're different colored handles. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's classy.
I only have a few days under our belt using these, but so far so good.
So far so good, yeah. You know what I like? This is a new thing for me. This is something I want. I haven't got it yet, but I have watched a lot of videos on. Are you familiar with jewelry welders?
Jewelry welders. Yeah. I usually think of jewelry as being soldered. Tell me
right?
about it.
So this is an automatic jewelry welder, and basically what it is, if you can imagine, is like a tiny little MIG welder that'll go in and put like a pin drop of weld onto something. So its filler rod is inside of the handle, if you can imagine it. And
much like a MIG welder, yeah.
Much like a MIG welder. It's just a stick. So it's a little bit like a TIG welder when you think about that. It's you take a little piece of this welding rod and you stick it into this thing, and it just goes like boop, and just shoots it out just long enough for it to make contact and for it to melt into the thing. And it's apparently amazing for solder or for welding together super, super tiny things, like things where you would TIG weld them, right? Because they're just really little, very delicate, and so you'd get out the TIG welder. This is a sort of automated, sort of replacement for, I'm thinking like, let's say you're making a tiny roof rack for your tiny RC Land Rover, and you want to make it out of metal, and you got to weld all that together, or you're fixing, little window tracks, or that sort of stuff.
What kind of metal is this? Is this steel? Was it aluminum?
Yeah, so you can get different rods to put in it. So they have steel, obviously they have aluminum. There's also copper, because again, it's for jewelry, right? So there's copper, there's bronze, there's a whole bunch of different filler rods that even for TIG welding, some of those are pretty exotic, and stainless steel. You can get stainless steel rods for it too, which is really interesting. And it's AC/DC, because I imagine it would have to be because it's welding all that stuff.
Does it have a shielding gas? Is it flux core?
No shielding gas at all. I don't know if it's flux core. I think the thing is like it's so sudden. I don't know that I'll send you a little link to it though, because it's pretty interesting. But it is an entire genre of welder that I didn't even know existed. And
great for pranks. Just gonna weld all of Linus's keys together.
Right? It would be perfect for that. Perfect for that. And it's like $200 for the average one, and it's the size. It looks like a Dremel remote. You know how you get the remote head for the Dremel? Yeah. Looks about like that. Plugs into a little box. And
is there a video of these things in action?
There are videos. Yeah, you can go to YouTube and look at them, and you can go to all these different. Like I said, you can get all these different fillers. They've got little cullets and stuff, and it's a really interesting system. And another thing, you can keep it in its little stand and use it, bring a piece up to it and weld it, or you can hold it in your hand and tap it against something. So
this describes it as a pulse argon arc welding machine.
Where do you put the argon in there?
Maybe in the little machine, or maybe it's just not shown. But the metals it says it can do are gold.
Yeah, you get gold. Best because it's gold.
Mixed. I don't know what that means. Titanium. Yeah. Orthodontics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welding jandal joint, whatever that is.
Oh, well, you got to have the jandal joint.
Yeah, that sounds like a
jandal joint. It's very Christmassy.
A turbo.
Oh yeah, no, sure enough. I'm looking at one now. It does. It comes with a regulator. So you definitely run argon into it.
Yeah, there you
Interesting.
It's just not pictured in the.
It's just not pictured. Yeah, but I found another one that has a little argon regulator.
I was like, how are they doing that without shielding gas?
That's a good question. Yep, there you go.
They are using shielding gas.
They are using shielding gas.
So it is a tiny MIG welder.
It's a tiny, tiny little MIG welder. Yeah, it's somewhere between a spot welder and a MIG welder. And it's sort of the convolution of all those. So anyways, I want one because I want to play around with it and see, because there's lots of tiny little things. I'm thinking like, the little wire that runs to the, the heated windshield on a series car. You getting that little
wire. Would you solder that normally?
You would solder it, yeah. But I wonder if with this, you just...
Can you weld copper with this thing?
You can, apparently. It's in the video that I watched on YouTube. The guy's welding copper. And you can also weld together dissimilar metals, like fairly dissimilar, not super, but like it's interesting. It's just something I'm interested in.
Real device.
Yeah, that's the thing. Now I'm going to order it, and it's just going to be a box of screws. You're just going to send you just a box of drywall screws. And you're like, God damn it!
You'll be lucky if you get drywall screws. It's just going to be drywall.
just chunks of just a bunch of drywall dust. Yeah. Someone just emptied the shop back in there. Yeah, so I'm thinking about that. That's one thing that.
So that's something you want.
It's interesting. It's something I want. I haven't gotten it, but it is something that I want.
Telling everybody out there.
Yeah, so if anyone is looking for a gift for me for this Christmas, please, drop a line here at the Underpowered Hour. But so it's just a neat technology. I have every process of welding, and I feel like it doesn't hurt to get one more. I've got argon, no problem. Just toss her in there. See what happens.
No problem. Well, that's kind of interesting. That is that's an interesting little gizmo that I was not previously familiar with.
Yeah. Might be total garbage. It may be total garbage. There's no way to know.
It's a good chance.
Yeah. But if you get some beautiful handmade jewelry in the new year, you'll know that it works, So, yeah. It kind of reminds me of the thing that you use to spot weld tabs onto like lithium batteries. Like if you're building a battery pack, like the one inside of like a, DeWalt drill or something like that, the battery individual cells are all tacked together.
dental work is one of the.
Is that, you think that's in the mouth, dental work? You think that's why it's the pen?
I mean,
you
that's
just
where
get
your
in
teeth
there.
are. So if you're doing dental work,
that's a good point. You're right. Yeah, you can't really argue with that logic.
Orthodontics. So you just like weld somebody's braces on.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Great. We're gonna do it. It'll really weld dissimilar things. It'll weld metal to teeth. It's really pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, we can fit you with a permanent grill.
What filler rod do you use for teeth? I wonder. We're
gonna get you a Land Rover wire mesh grill that goes on your teeth.
A little galvanized grill.
Yeah.
Is it good to have that kind of zinc in your mouth all the time? It's good because zinc, right?
Your mouth, absolutely.
If you're sick, you take zinc, right? So it's the same.
It's the exact same.
Yeah, it's exact same. All right. What else? What else are you interested in this holiday season? You got some other things on the old list there?
I have a lot of practical things on my list that are not very exciting.
Yeah,
I would say. But socks. I mean, it's probably true. I probably do need some socks.
Yeah, need some socks. Yeah.
I need a sock welder.
Sock welder. One sock to the other for lose them.
Got a sock welder. I would love that, But no, I think I've been just working on various Land Rover projects, and I've been picking away at all those things. And there's some things that I've had to send out. An example would be my galvanizer. Yeah. Currently, their tank is not operational.
Uh-oh.
So I would love for Christmas for them to repair that so that I can dip some things,
Right.
So
they're too cold and it just turned into it's just a block of zinc now.
Yeah, somebody fell in, or I don't even know, what happened, but it's not currently operational. They're telling me mid-January, so it's a big problem when you have to galvanize things to get work done
for a living. Yeah. Wow. That is tough. Yeah. Well, it's a Christmas miracle if they get that thing going again. It's
I know.
Galvanizers are few and far between. So
you don't want to piss them off. It's like the garbage man. You just don't have an argument with them because they will ruin your life.
Yeah. It just doesn't even make sense. Yeah.
No,
where do you go?
Here's a gift basket. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for not being able to galvanize. Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one. We have LA Galvanizing here in Los Angeles, and they're 2 full city blocks, and they basically do street signs and lamp posts and that sort of stuff. And they think it's hilarious when you bring them a small box of Land Rover parts. And they're like,
"Here's some tabs. Can you dip these?"
Yeah,
they're on a wire.
Yeah, they're like, "Well, sure." But there has been small runs of things where I've just been able to take them down there, and they're like, "We'll just do it. It's fine. I can't even charge you for this. This is not enough to make it chargeable.
Meet the threshold."
Yeah, they're like, "Just give it to me. It's fine.
Just don't tell anyone."
Yeah, just don't talk about it on your podcast.
So yeah, I would love to have that fixed. I just took a frame in to have it painted. I would love for that to be done.
Yeah.
But I'm working on a 1.6 liter. I would love to have the rocker cover studs for that. I realize that I have 2 that are too short and 1 that is the correct length. So somebody has removed the correct ones and replaced them with incorrect ones.
That's always nice.
And they kind of reach the threads on the little nuts that hold them down, but not quite. So in order to tighten it, you have to over tighten it essentially to get it to work. And the previous owner of this engine did that and cracked the rocker cover. So
you weld that back up?
I fortunately had a replacement, but the next time I do one, I will have to weld it up.
Yes.
I'm going to kick that can down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, there's this little spot welder thing you can get to just get in there and
just a bunch of little aluminum spot welds.
Tiny little aluminum spot welds.
There's no way that thing's going to work well.
Speaking of aluminum, I'm looking at a DeWalt 20-volt max cordless rivet tool. Have you seen this? Have you seen the DeWalt rivet gun? Yeah, it's for pop rivets. DeWalt finally, is branching out into tools that not just carpenters need, and or maybe a carpenter needed a rivet gun, so they decided they were going to make one. But it's part of this new line where they metalworking stuff now. So
only does wooden rivets.
It only does wooden rivets. Yeah, just large wooden rivets. It's just really a pegging tool.
I know you want that. That's on your list.
That's what I'm looking for. That's exactly right. But yeah, no, it's a 3/16 rivet tool. So I don't know if that's all it'll do, but it's not bad. It's it looks pretty robust. It looks like every other DeWalt tool you've ever seen, and it's got a little hopper on the back for your spent rivet. Your rivet skeleton. And
They say that, it's a lot like the Harry Potter universe, the power tools, you get sorted into the Milwaukee, the DeWalt, the Ryobi, the Makita, and you have to stay with that for the rest of your life.
Ryobi's definitely Hufflepuff. No question.
Ryobi is Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff for sure. They're Hufflepuff for sure. But yeah, as part of this automotive or metalworking rather DeWalt stuff, there's a band file that they have now. Kind of like a Dynabrade, but not as good.
I love a band file. That's one of my favorite tools. It's very versatile, especially the Dynafile brand.
Yeah.
But they're the best.
So good. They make an electric one too. I don't think Dynabrade makes a cordless one. Maybe they do. I don't know if they have a cordless system.
I know they're the last U.S.-based pneumatic tool company.
Yeah. And then, man, the Dynabrade Dynafile is super nice. I have an old one. I don't have a new one. I have a vintage one. It still works great. I mean, I don't know what. You can't really improve on it. It's sort of as good as it needs to be. It works amazing.
I especially like the interchangeable, heads where you can run the 1/8-inch belts or the 1/2-inch belts or, the curved belts. Those are great.
Yep. Can you get the pipe belt for a Dynafile? Do they make the one that that has like the two little wheels specifically for reconditioning like round things?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I know you can get
those are cool.
a Scotch-Brite belts as well.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. That's real nice.
I use them all the time, and they're amazing.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. It's super cool, especially if you're doing a lot of like interior welding and stuff, and you need to file that stuff. If you've got sometimes fasteners that won't come off, and you just gotta yank. If you've got this spot welder thing, you're just spot welding, and you just want to clean that off. It's great. It's great.
Man, well,
like it's your job. Well, yeah, so it's going to be a great holiday. Looking forward to getting away from everything for a little bit, and gonna maybe we'll see what ends up under the tree. Maybe a little weird little spot welder or an electric rivet gun. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, whatever it is, you'll be joining things together this holiday season.
That's exactly right. Either mechanically or electrically. That's all I want. That's all I'm looking for. Just want to stick one thing to another thing.
Well, happy Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year. But we'll have a show here and there. So don't fret out there in underpowered land.
No, we've got some good stuff. We will be releasing finally, like the Epstein files, the less similar than that actually, but the interview from the legendary interview from the Camel Trophy event.
I don't believe it. That was lost. It blew away in that windstorm.
I have it. I've got it, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. We're gonna bring that to you over the holiday. Yeah, really, just a joyous, interesting conversation with some Camel Trophy legends. So look forward to that, and we'll see what else the holiday brings. And otherwise, we'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you soon, Stephen.
The Underpowered Hour is produced by Liza Barris, Ike Goss, and me, Steve Barris. Pavel Svardov composed and performed our theme music. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, and if you already do, thank you. Your support makes the show possible. For even more, check out our Instagram or Facebook.